Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We just got some very interesting new leaks regarding the next significant update to a mode that, quite frankly, did not get enough time in Call of Duty, and that is DMZ. We obviously first saw this debut back with Modern Warfare 2022, and throughout the year, I thought it was a ton of fun. I don't think they necessarily supported it as much as they probably should have during that year. Obviously, Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, everything going on with that was an absolute circus. It was a roller coaster for sure because of all the ups and downs that game went through over the course of its first main year. But then just a year into DMZ's lifespan, when we switched on over to Modern Warfare 3, instead of continuing support for a mode that they had apparently worked on for 4 years at the time of launch, they just completely abandoned it. However, we've seen several new leaks and rumors surface over the course of the past few months detailing that in COD 2026, what's known as Modern Warfare 4, DMZ is going to be returning, and we just got some pretty major leaks as to what to expect with some elements of gameplay. So that said, this information is stemming courtesy of Reality UK, known leaker, data miner that we've covered here on the channel a multitude of times. And this first one I think is crazy. And keep in mind, well, yes, obviously these leaks are, focused on DMZ and DMZ gameplay specifically. With Modern Warfare 4, we're going to see presumably large engine updates for Call of Duty, a major overhaul in several ways, dropping last gen. So a lot of advancements can be made. Features that we see available for DMZ could also bleed into Warzone, could bleed into multiplayer and be available there as well. Like for instance, this first one, which is something I think a lot of players have asked for a long time in Call of Duty, dynamic weather. Reality reports, it seems like Modern Warfare 4 DMZ is going to have weather cycles with just your default, probably sunny day, what we're used to seeing in Call of Duty, where the lighting is nice and fine and dandy and whatever, right? There's also going to be a foggy version that could be a little bit more ominous. Obviously, limit your visibility over some of the longer ranges and make you play a little bit more close to mid-range, which can completely change the type of weapon you want to bring in. And you don't know if you're loading into a foggy match or a default match or a rainy match where there's a bit of a drizzle. There's also heavy rain, though, where it might be a downpour and you can hardly see anything, and the audio is really rainy, like you're hearing all the raindrops come in. You can't hear footsteps, or maybe gunfire is really muffled because of that. Completely changes the dynamic of the entire match, which I think is really cool and adds in sort of a level of uniqueness, if that's the right word, to each individual game. Like with DMZ, especially as we got later on into the MW2 year, it became a little bit more repetitive, I think, for a lot of players. Yes, they were introducing some changes here and there, but the support kind of dwindled a bit, and it just became the sort of the same song and dance repeatedly. A lot of players were shifting more towards like PvP with it, doing less PvE, doing less missions and whatnot, because it was so repetitive. But when you have systems like this in place, where one game it's fine, you can see everything, visibility is nice, it's a calm spring afternoon, right? The next game it's drenched because it's pouring rain. It's two different experiences in and of themselves. There's also basic snow, heavy snow. Depending on the engine upgrades, maybe you could track players, you could track things going on in game because you see footprints in the snow. So that's really interesting. And then also just a super windy one. I don't know if we'd ever get to the realism of like, if it's super windy, your bullets change direction, like the velocity gets messed up or whatever. But hey, you never know. If we do see significant engine upgrades, maybe they go all in on some realism parts of it. But this being the first leak of the few that we're covering here today, I think is really cool because, like I said, this is something that's been an idea thrown around the COD community for a long time. Dynamic weather could be a huge game changer, whether it's in Warzone multiplayer. We had like a little bit of that in Black Ops 4 multiplayer. We had like the sandstorm maps. We had some more rainy maps. Like there were some changes there that were kind of cool. Applying this to a larger mode like DMZ or Battle Royale, I think could be really awesome. And by the way, as we are going through all the leaks and rumors here today, if you guys do enjoy the video, a like rating is always seriously appreciated. Really does help grow the channel. And if you're new to the channel, you want to make sure that each and every day you're in the know for everything going on in COD. You want to help us get one step closer to hitting 1 million subs. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. This next one that Reality drops is also pretty interesting. Modern Warfare 4 DMZ will have a new POI difficulty labeled Extreme. So various different POIs will have different difficulties to them, whether it's more basic. The bots there are not all that crazy. The loot's probably going to be very default, low attachment, guns, nothing too crazy. Then you get maybe into some more extreme areas where the bots are heightened skill, the loot's better, but extreme actually giving you a true challenge, again, I think is something that offers more of an end game, if you will, an end goal, something to grind towards and something to perfect and get better at. At the end of the day, fighting bots is still fighting bots. Yes, there can be some really good ones, but they're not real players. They are a little bit more predictable, a little bit easier to fool and take on. So when you have just, a large component of your game being AI gameplay, it can only go so extreme in terms of the level of competition, no pun intended, but adding in an extreme difficulty area could be pretty interesting. Very curious to see how that sort of evolves and what that entails. Another interesting one from reality, there will be multiple different ways to infill into DMZ, probably just randomly chosen, but different ways to actually access the map. And when you get in, there's going to be ground vehicles where you just roll in those. There's going to be helicopters that drop you off. Apparently there will be an AC-130 infill. I'm not too sure what that's going to entail, but sounds interesting. And then just a standard one there, maybe where you just load in. But I'd be curious to know, like, can you choose these? If so, does it impact where you're spawning in on the map? Is it going to limit you in any certain capacity? You know, what's going on at this? The AC-130 really has my eye here, because I'm just not sure how as an infill that would fully work. You just taking that to go and jump in like in the start of a warzone match, and you can choose exactly where you're dropping out, or is it going to be completely different? Can the heli have certain spawns? Can you choose those? We'll have to see if it's just RNG and you just get one of these randomly as like an infill sequence and it just plays out, or if there is a little bit more strategy behind it. And then lastly, I do think this is one that could bleed into multiplayer, bleed into Warzone, other aspects of the game. Reality says DMZ will also have a 3D printer of some sort. Not much to go off of. That's basically all that there is on it. It simply exists, right? So some kind of 3D printer is going to be available as a feature, as an option here, potentially to craft new weapons live on the fly, maybe make different attachments for your guns, do interesting things there. What I do think is cool about this is that if you throw back to Modern Warfare 3, obviously it wasn't an Infinity Ward title, but they were aware of what's going on there. They supported in various areas. We had a lot of 3D printer elements with the aftermarket parts. That's kind of like the theme behind them, right? And so it's quite possible that that sort of is expanded more here in Modern Warfare 4, not just as something for DMZ, but we see the concept of aftermarket parts applied to more elements of the game. Just overall global weapons, I think, could certainly have a chance here to thrive if that's the case, which I thought was a big W for Modern Warfare 3. Definitely was something that changes up the meta, offers more diversity there, offers more fresh things to test out. And if they do it like MW3, where these are things you can obtain week after week with event updates and challenges, gives you more to grind for as well. So that'd be a huge W. But in general here, some pretty cool leaks, some pretty cool rumors for DMZ 2.0, if you will, the next iteration of DMZ, hopefully with a large scale support system in place from day one it launches throughout the seasons and beyond. This is something that COD could actually have long-term extraction, battle royale, multiplayer campaign, zombies. It's a lot to support, but also could really thrive if supported correctly. That said, that is going to wrap things up for this one. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, you want to ensure that each and every day you are always in the know for everything going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.